Good morning, everyone. Welcome to another Rookie Card Collector 123 video. In today's video, we're going to take a look at 10 of the top early Frank Chance cards. Chance, of course, first baseman, Hall of Famer from the Chicago Cubs, part of the famous Tinkers to Evers to Chance double play combination. But in addition to being a first baseman, began his career as a catcher. And the second half of his career, he was a player manager and managed the Chicago Cubs as well, including their phenomenal 1906, 1907, 1908 run, where they were one of the best teams in baseball history. So the Frank Chance, what I would consider rookie, although it's not a card by definition, so it's not Frank Chance true rookie card. But his earliest Major League Baseball collectible, which is cataloged, would be his 1899 to 1900. It's cataloged as M101-1. It's a sporting news supplement. These are very large size items. They're made out of a very thin paper stock, and they are roughly about 8.5 by 11. The only grading company, as far as I know today, that's able to encapsulate them with a large enough holder has been Beckett. I'm not sure if they've graded any since they were acquired by TSA. So I'm not sure. Possibly they're not grading them anymore. That seems to have happened with a lot of stuff SGC used to grade. And then since they were acquired by PSA, they've stopped grading some issues. So as of right now, the only numerical grade untrimmed M101-1s are all in Beckett holders, as far as I know. And that would be the earliest Frank Chance rookie item. The Frank Chance true rookie card, however, would be in the W600. That's the 1902 to 1911 Sporting Life cabinets. Those are the ones that you chose from a catalog in the Sporting Life newspapers or magazines. You can order them through the mail, and they sent you whichever player you chose from the catalog. Frank Chance was one of the early players pictured in there, and I believe he was offered from 1903 to 1911. The W600's population is very low. Most of them tend to be in the somewhere between 10 and 20 copies known. I would imagine, I haven't looked this up, but I would imagine the Frank Chance probably falls somewhere in that range. The next Frank Chance we're going to talk about is a similar era. This is a 1903 to 1904 E107. That was a caramel card, the first real caramel candy card set issued in 1903. Many of these have either blank backs, or they'll have a mention of a 1 of 150, 1 of 150 players. And there are some that have a stamp on the back which says Bryce Williams, which was a candy company back in that era. So the set is referred to as Bryce Williams, kind of like the sporting news set, which is really M101-5s and M101-4s. The most common back beside the blank back for those is the sporting news back. So the Bryce Williams set, many, like I said, blank backs. Some of them just say 1 of a group of 150 players. And then there's also the stamped Bryce Williams. The stamped Bryce Williams tend to bring a little more of a premium than the blank backs or the 150 player backs. Next up, we're going to talk about is the 1905 to 1909 Carl Horner cabinet of Frank Chance. These are very rare again. Only, I believe, maybe two known, maybe 3 known, something like that. Carl Horner, of course, was the famous photographer from the early 20th century era. Most of his images are the ones used on the T206 portraits. And the actual photo taken by Carl Horner is used to make the Frank Chance cabinet card. It's the original photo mounted on a thick cardboard backing. Also, 1904, we have another Frank Chance option, which is this is a one of one, so it's a unique card. It's part of the Allegheny Card Company set. This was a set of cards produced for a board game by the Allegheny Company, which is believed to never have been issued. So there was one test set that we know of produced, and it was broken up many years ago. And I've seen, excuse me, I've seen some of the singles for sale over the years at card shows or in auction house listings. Frank Chance is included in this set. Obviously, the rarest Frank Chance there is, as it's a one of one. Next up, a little more doable Frank Chance card to acquire is the 1906 Fan Craze. So Chance, being part of the Chicago Cubs at that time, was in the Fan Craze National League set. There was also an American League set produced the same year, 1906. And Chance is one of the highlights from that set. That came also with a board game. Next Frank Chance we're going to cover is the 1907 Grignon postcard series. These were all Chicago Cub players. Like the name implies, they were produced on postcards. They've got a teddy bear image. Most of the postcard is a green background, kind of like the grass on a baseball field. And then it's got a smaller picture of the player, in this case Frank Chance, on the front of the card as well. The back would be a postcard backing with the Grignon publication notation as well. Next one we're going to cover is also 1907 era issue. This was 07 to 09, and this was the Deitch postcard company. Deitch put out two different team series. One was the Detroit Tigers, which includes the Ty Cobb rookie, and the other was Chicago Cubs, which includes the Frank Chance that we're talking about today. And they also included, there was a Johnny Evers, a Joe Tinker, and a Mordecai Brown among the Chicago Cubs Hall of Famers from that era. Next one we're going to cover is the 1908 issue. The set was actually put out over 3 years, from 1908 to 1910. And they were done by series, so every year of the 3 years, there was 4 or 5 teams that were produced, and they would be part of that series, and the players' checklist would be listed on the back of that particular year's series. So Chance, of course, was part of the Chicago Cubs group. That Chicago Cubs group was produced the first year, which was 1908. And they're designated in the American Card Catalog as E91-A. The other sets are E91-B and E91-C, one for 1909, one for 1910. But as I mentioned, the Frank Chance is the earlier one, the 1908. And the last one we're going to cover today is the Frank Chance Rose Company postcard. These are very popular, very scarce. Populations on these are typically under 10 or close to that number. Again, a lot of the background is in green, simulating a baseball field, the grass. It's got a diamond base paths also pictured, and then the player's portrait is in a circular spot in the very center of the postcard. The back is the typical standard postcard type of back. And these, like I mentioned, were issued in 1908, 1909. It's a very popular series. The presentation is very nice, one of the nicest postcards produced during the era. And the Chance is one of the more popular Hall of Famers in there as well. So that's going to wrap up today's episode on 10 early and low population cards for Mr. Frank Chance, Chicago Cubs first base manager great. Hope you got some good information here today. Just a footnote, today is Tuesday. Tomorrow, Wednesday, I'm going to start my trip to Strongsville. I'm driving from Orlando, Florida, So I've got about a 15-hour drive with my buddy Cesar Lopez, who's going to be joining me on the trip. And we'll be heading up there tomorrow and Thursday, arriving probably late afternoon Thursday, spending the show Friday, Saturday, and Sunday up there, and then Monday morning starting to drive back home to Florida. And I won't get back home until probably Tuesday evening. So the next 7 days or so, no videos coming out on my channel. I will pick up and resume again, if it all goes well, next Wednesday. So that would be April 15th, tax day, actually. So anyway, hope everyone enjoyed today's video. Have a great day, and I'll catch you guys again next week.